folks. Welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show. We'll be joined by Tom DeLay in just a moment. He'll be talking about the Governor Perry indictment. We'll also talk to him about what's going on down in Ferguson. And we have some breaking news. Gateway Pundit can now confirm that two local St. Louis sources, that police officer Darren Wilson suffered facial fractures during his confrontation with deceased 18-year-old Michael Brown. Officer Wilson clearly feared for his life, they say, during the incident that led to the shooting. They say that Officer Darrell Wilson suffered an orbital blowout fracture to his eye socket during the attack by Brown. Of course, according to what we know about and they also basically have an image of a CT scan here. A blowout fracture is a fracture of one or more of the bones surrounding the eye and is commonly referred to as an orbital floor fracture. And this comes after the St. Louis Dispatch tweeted out, by one of their reporters tweeted out last night, that a dozen local witnesses confirmed the police officer's account of the incident. So if this officer had a broken eye socket, okay, and has a dozen witnesses, there's going to be a lot of explaining to do by a lot of people. What can I tell you? Also, breaking, St. Louis police have shot a knife-wielding suspect. Authorities responding to a report of an officer involved in a shooting in North St. Louis. It happened just before 1 p.m. Today. Authorities say a man tried to rob the Five Star Market convenience store with a knife. The store owner says he got into a dispute with the man. Police were called, but the suspect refused to put down the weapon. He tried to attack police and was shot and killed. All right, Tom DeLay joins us, but first, watch this conversation about the governor of Texas.
The stupidest thing I've seen, I think, in my entire career. I hope some judge throws it out right away. It's not just kind of funny and ridiculous, but it's an infringement on individual liberty. He's got a First Amendment right just because he's governor of Texas. And I think, like I said, it's easy to joke about this, but this is a serious thing. Oh. It is ridiculous that he was indicted for this.
All right, Mark Halpern on MSNBC, of all people. You put that together with others on the left who have come out in support of the governor of the state of Texas. And joining us now is Tom DeLay, former Republican House Majority Leader and former Texas congressman. Hello, sir.
Hello, Steve.
All right, so I know that you've also weighed in and blasted this indictment of Governor Perry. Let me ask you, when you heard about this indictment, did you hearken back to your own legal situation?
Steve, I'm still in my own legal situation. I've been in it for 9 years. It took me 5 years just to get to trial. I was indicted in 2005, so yeah. It made me think of what I'm going through right now.
Is there a comparison? Do you see an analogy to be made between the motivations, the type of abuse in handing down the indictments that you see in the or the corruption, as you put it, that you see in the Perry indictment?
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely the same. It comes from the district attorney of Travis County. They have a long history, a 30-year history of intimidating elected officials through this public integrity unit, Democrats as well as Republicans. They indicted Kay Bailey Hutchison, the senator from Texas. They indicted and convicted me. Now they've done Rick Perry. Something that people aren't looking at. They are going. This is also a personal vendetta, unlike others. Mine was a political vendetta, or just to get rid of me. But this is a personal vendetta because the governor spoke up against this district attorney and asked her to resign. So yeah, no self-respecting prosecutor would ever take this Rick Perry's case to a grand jury. It's got to be partisan politics.
Now, you were convicted and sentenced to prison. Do you see that the same thing could possibly happen to Rick Perry?
Look, you have to plan for the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is his judge throws it out,
right?
But then the prosecution will appeal that. My appeal from my conviction took 3 years.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. Rick Perry thinks he's going to throw this out. That's exactly what I thought. It would be thrown out, or at the very least, I could go to trial very quickly. No, they can drag it out as long as they want to. The judges and the prosecution are in control. They can drag it out just by all kinds of motions and things that take 30 days, 90 days, 120 days. So he's going to be under this cloud for a while.
So he should plan for the worst, as you said. And does this?
Well,
yeah,
Steve, the only thing that he's got going for him is Democrats like Mark.
David Axelrod and Mark Halpern and Alan Dershowitz.
That may give the political courage for the prosecution to withdraw this case, or if it's dismissed, not appeal it.
So how does this affect him? Do you believe, if you were in his position and probably planning to run for president, would you put those plans on hold?
I wouldn't put the plans on hold, but you've got to understand that this cloud is hanging over your head, and it's going to make it harder for him to run for president, because people are looking at this, even if they're friends and supporters, and they're saying, I don't want to put my money in this, not knowing what the outcome is going to be. Maybe I'll wait, or the supporters may wait. Well, if you've got people waiting, then you're going to have a tough time.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. All right, Congressman, let's move on to what we're viewing here in Missouri every single day and every single night. I am just so disgusted with the media coverage. This coming on the heels of the coverage of Hamas in Israel, where Israel was the bad guys. Hamas, you put a shirt and a tie on them, and they're all of a sudden the same as Israel. And now, the media has this cop guilty. Some of the coverage, some of the anchors are just way, way, way overboard. It's a tragedy that this young man was killed, but it's very possible that the cop was perfectly right and legitimate in what he did. We just don't know yet, but the media has it the other way, like they did in the Trayvon Martin case.
Well, the media is scared to death that somebody like Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton would call them racist. So they're bending over backwards, and they're typically liberal anyway. So they're of the same mindset as Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. And as you say, Steve, we don't know the facts yet, and I'm not going to judge it yet. But I do know that this looting and the thugs that are looting these legitimate businesses has nothing to do with Brown. They're using Brown as an excuse to go in and steal, and it ought to be treated as such.
I want to move to a piece in the New York Times today, Congressman, which is titled "Obama is Seen as Frustrating His Own Party." And they talk about a scene in the Oval Office, I believe, where Harry Reid and some other Democratic leaders were meeting with the president. And Harry Reid said, you got to step up. The Republicans are blocking judges, judicial nominees, other nominees. You got to do something. And he said, and maybe McConnell was there at the time, I don't know. And he said, well, you and McConnell work it out. And Reid got supposedly really ticked off. This disconnect, this failure to have a relationship with not only members of the Republican Party, but members of his own party. To what do you attribute that? It's almost unprecedented from a president.
Well, first of all, Steve, I love this disconnect. The more they're disconnected, the less harm they can do to the country. So I love it, and I want more of it. But I am shocked about it. I'm not surprised. Obama never was a gregarious person. He was very much a loner when he came to Washington as U.S. Senator. He was pretty much a show horse, pretty much narcissistic, and that is starting to tell. And especially when you look at his polls that are dragging down the party and dragging down the Democrat candidates all over the country, the Democrats are figuring out a way how they dump him. And they will figure out a way. I've seen it done before.
We're less than 90 days away from the midterms. I can't even believe I'm saying that. and it's been quite a newsy summer. I don't know what the news cycle will bring, but you confident or not? Because you've talked about not taking anything for granted when you and I have talked. So I'll ask it this way: how do you feel? Less than 90 days out, do you believe that the Republicans are still perched to take over the Senate possibly and pick up seats in the House?
Yeah, I feel very confident. What I like seeing is the Republican candidates out there not just running against Obama. They're stepping up and standing on principles, standing on the Constitution as an alternative, particularly to their incumbents, like Tom Cotton against Pryor in Arkansas. Here's a man of great character, great integrity, and he's showing that character to the people of Arkansas while he's hanging Obama around Pryor's throat. So the campaigns out there I'm very excited about. I think there are 15 Senate seats in play. We only need 6 for a majority. And so I think we can get at least 6 out of that 15, and we may see a better year than that.
All right, Congressman, always great to talk to you. Thank you for making time for us, sir.
My pleasure, Steve, always.
Take care. Tom DeLay, ladies and gentlemen, former Republican House Majority Leader, and, of course, Congressman from the great state of Texas. Very interesting. We'll see how this indictment plays out, but I thought it's very interesting that the Congressman said that, you got to prepare for the worst, because you just never know. You think it's going to be thrown out. You just don't know. The Democratic support that he's getting might help, yeah, but you never know what a judge or a court is going to do, or a jury for that matter. All right, folks, we're coming back. We're going to talk about all of this, Perry and Ferguson and the shooting and the aftermath with the Malzberg panel. Don't miss it. You'll love it. I promise. Don't go away.